Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to KHM Today, your weekly resource for industry news and straight up fun. I'm your host, Carolyn Orff, and today is, I don't even know, September 18th, 2024. You'll see I've got this big microphone sticking in the corner here. We were having some technical difficulties, so you just get the microphone today. I hope everyone's great. I missed you last week. Sorry about the confusion. We had a show. We had some difficulties in the office, so you didn't have a show, but we're going to bring those topics back to you on another day. But I'm really excited to be back with you guys. And I'm just going to kind of give you some updates as we wait for some people to join us. We know sometimes it takes a while to find us live on YouTube, so we'll wait just a few minutes. But I have to share with you all, last week we hosted our first KHM Walt Disney World Boot Camp, myself, Amy Garner, and Virginia Ambushami. And I have to tell you, it was amazing. It really was amazing. And I kind of knew that it would be amazing, but it ended up being amazing in a different way than what I was expecting. So we walked about 9 miles every day. We visited all the parks. We took boats. We took the monorail. We took buses to visit about 19 properties and then a variety of restaurants. And, we knew what this was going to look like, but you never know the full extent of an event until the people. And this group was amazing. We had a lot of agents that had never met each other before. We had a lot of agents that had never been to a KHM event before. We had one fantastic 7-month pregnant woman. Janelle, shout out to you. You were amazing. It was hot, you guys. Hot, hot, hot. And everyone just brought their A game. It was a lot, but we just had a blast. And I couldn't be more thankful for the group that joined us. We're looking to see if we can do it again, maybe a little bit of a different look, but it absolutely was amazing. And the best part, really, of any event is spending time with amazing agents. So thank you to everyone that was there. Watch the Facebook page for more pictures that will be posted. And it just was fantastic. Hi, Nancy. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Sadie. It's been so long. I haven't seen you. Leslie, great to see you. Tammy, wonderful to see you as well online. So just a couple heads up before we get into our first guest. I don't know if you guys have been watching, but there is a new ETA visa required for the UK starting in January. So if you've got clients on the books, go back to those client folders. I'm a paper person, and look to make sure that you've got a note in there to tell your client about this visa. It does take up to 3 days to be approved. So it's not something they can do at the airport. They're going to need it by the time they land. So, just start doing your research on that. There's a bunch of articles out there. Next up, we've seen this posted by a couple of agents. Mexican customs are cracking down on this technology rule. And so do some research on it. It's one device per person, I think it is. It's a new regulation. You've got to be aware of it. If you have a no before you go for your clients traveling to Mexico, be sure to add this, but don't just add it. Make sure you talk to them about it, because boy, that's going to be a tough pill to swallow if they have a laptop and an iPad and a phone. There's a tax that you have to pay, and you don't want to be responsible for not sharing that information. So get that out to them ASAP. It's kind of one of those things. We think sometimes Mexico doesn't follow through on these things, and then one of our clients gets hit, and we all start to get a little nervous. So it's out there. Just make them aware. I'm very excited today because we're talking cruise groups, you guys. So please welcome to the stage for the first time ever, Lylle Lopez, Business Development Manager for Norwegian Cruise Line. Hello, live from her bedroom and packing, getting
Yes.
ready to be
Hi,
on the road again.
everyone. How is everyone doing? Yes, I'm in the middle of packing. I was just telling her, I am in the middle of packing. I have a trip tomorrow that I'm leaving to. So I do apologize the fact that I am here and not in my office, but it was the easiest way for me to be able to handle both, right? So
No
I
apologies
do apologize for
necessary.
that. But
No
hi,
apologies
everyone. I'm
necessary.
so excited to be here.
Yeah, so this is you've never been on the show before. So for
No,
our
no,
new
I
guests,
never
we
have.
always love to do some rapid fire questions. So are you ready?
Let's go. I'll try to get them
We'll
as,
see how
as
fast
fast
you
as I
answer them.
can.
All right. What has been your favorite age so far?
Childhood.
What is your go-to lazy dinner?
Don't eat.
Starve. Now that's a new one. I haven't heard that one before. With the summertime in the rearview mirror, what is your favorite thing to do during the summer?
Go to the beach.
What is one of your nicknames?
Lilo.
What is the stupidest dare you ever agreed to?
Eating a jar of jalapenos.
Ooh. What
Yes.
item is worth spending money on?
Experiences. I know you said items, but
That's an
experiences.
item.
Mhm.
Is your bed made right now?
Yes.
And have you ever written a song for someone?
No.
I haven't either. Well, thank you. Well done. You answered those pretty fast. What made you eat a jar of jalapenos?
So it
Or
was high
who made
school.
you?
Yeah. Well, both my brothers. Um, it was if I did, they would stop bugging me. So I was like, fine, I'll do it. And of course, I didn't get through the whole thing. I had maybe five or six. And I was like, forget, you can continue to bother me. I don't care. I'm not going through this pain. So
That sounds like a lot of fun.
I have two
So,
brothers. I have an older brother who's 4 years older than me, and then my younger brother who's 2 years younger than me. But they would tag team, and it was
ah, yeah,
yes.
yeah, stuck right in the middle.
Hmm.
Um, so today we're talking about groups and specifically cruise groups. I feel like this is an area that has just exploded. Are you seeing that as well?
Absolutely. I am seeing it in the numbers. More and more agents are reaching out with, hey, I have a family. Hey, I just came across a nonprofit. Can you help? And it is something that we're seeing in the industry. It almost seems like guests and even travel advisors were not aware that you could actually do a conference or a family reunion or a
Mm.
nonprofit, fundraising group on board one of the ships, and we have an amazing program for fundraising. I mean, for everything, but that actually is geared to and caters to a fundraising nonprofit organizations. Um, so yeah, I have definitely seen it in the numbers, the amount of agents that are reaching out.
What do you think when it comes to NCL ships? I feel like in the last 10 years there's been such a transformation, right? They have fun activities. There's a lot of specialty dining, which was always your thing to begin with. The freestyle
Yeah,
cruising has been
the
out there.
freestyle
That's
cruises.
always been your thing. What do you think NCL and the ships bring to the table when it comes to groups? Like why is this a choice for us or the best choice for us?
Well, aside from the fact that we have an amazing affinity group program, right? That with all other the industry norm is you need 8 rooms in order to start having, to be considered a group with us. All you need is 5 groups. So aside from that, and what the program actually brings to the table, which is a very efficient and profitable
Mm.
program for both clients and travel partners. Uh, our ships, as you said, the freestyle concept, our ships are all purposely built for that freestyle concept in mind. So all venues are smaller venues, all venues are multi-purpose. So for instance, when I've hosted my seminars at sea, which are large conferences, right, with travel advisors, instead of putting them in one of the conference rooms that it's enclosed and you're not really seeing the ocean, and why are you in the middle of the ocean and not seeing it and enjoying it? We put them in one of our main dining rooms, and we set up the room in a way where if you come in, it's a classroom style area where we have the tables all facing forward, and we have the chairs, and we have a podium, and we have a screen, and everything for it to be the right environment to learn, right? So, and we do that with all different conferences as well. So being that our ships are purposely built with the freestyle concept in mind, we have a lot of the areas are multi-purpose. And so,
Hmm.
well, maybe it's the karaoke bar, but during the day we'll host a cocktail party for your group. So
Right.
they're just, you'll be surprised everything that we can do.
I think it's so cool to repurpose the dining room with all those lovely windows, right? You think,
Yeah,
oh gosh, what a way to appreciate where you are while still keeping why you're there in mind.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I think it's hard sometimes when you're in a room without being able to see
I agree.
daylight.
Yes, I
um,
agree.
and to focus like that. And I know some people would say, "Oh, no, 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 I'm better focused there. If you show me the ocean, I'm going to want to be in the ocean." But I think that's a really interesting take. And to be honest, it kind of goes along with what I believe Norwegian's kind of mantra is, right? Thinking outside of the
Yeah.
box has always
Mhm. Yeah,
been
we
your
have been
thing.
the innovators in the industry for
Yeah.
a lot of things, a
Yep.
lot of things. So,
Would
yeah.
you say there are some best practices that agents should think about when booking cruise groups, really in general in the industry, but of course specifically with NCL? Is there anything that you say is a must do or something that they really should be thinking about before they go down this path?
What I always tell the agents that reach out to me is make sure that you know your client. Ask specific questions, right? There is no better way to avoid any kind of disappointments than when you set up the right expectations, that you talk to them, you ask the right questions, right? And what do I mean by the right questions? It's a family, for instance, a family reunion. Are you celebrating anything? That
Mhm.
way, are they going to want a cocktail party? Because if they do, then you need to do all the onboard programming way in advance, as soon as you block that group space. If you realize once 2 weeks before the sailing that they want to celebrate grandma and grandpa's anniversary, and you want to host a cocktail party for them, it's too late to then get the time, or get, so you want to ask the right questions, not just, oh, okay, great, this is an awesome opportunity, but you don't know if they're celebrating anything. So you
Mhm.
want to ask, are they celebrating any milestones? Do Is there anything other than just sailing, for instance, or traveling? Are they trying to accomplish anything? Are they looking for anything more? Because that way, you as the travel advisor can best guide them and set up their experience to be a memorable one.
Do you feel like when we think like of like knitting groups or scrapbooking groups or anything that's going to need space, is the best practice to find the space first and then book the group? I mean, that's kind of what we do with weddings, right? Like you're not booking a wedding somewhere where the date's already picked. Um, but it almost sounds like you're saying, book the cruise and then we'll figure out the space, but we want you to figure out the space quickly.
Yeah. So with NCL in particular, we do, in order to start talking to the special groups, the special team, the special events team, right, and start getting those um, important things, I guess, the little details, you do need to have a group booked. Now, what
Hmm.
happens with NCL is that when you book a group with us, when you and I'm specifically talking about the affinity group program, you have, from the day that you block the group space, you have 60 days with zero deposit. What does that do? You block your group space today and you have until mid-December, pretty much, right? Today's September, October, mid-November. So you have all of September, all of October till mid-November to have to put any kind of deposit. And at that point, on the 60, what that is an initial deposit of only $50 per cabin. So what happens? You can block your group space, then send that onboard programming request and find out all the specifics, right? Once you know, yes, it's something that we can do, or no, it's something that we can't do, it's going to be done within the first 2 weeks that you block the group space. Then you can move forward to talk to your clients and say, okay, this is what we have. Yes, we can do, or not, we can't.
Okay.
But even if it's a no, you still have time to, then we just cancel the group, and you didn't waste any, there was no funds that you were lost. There was nothing else, that happens. It's just, if we can accommodate the group, obviously, then, we don't want to do a disservice to your clients.
Right, right. Is there a way in your system that you're able to say, "Hey, we can't do it this week, but we can do it this week on the same ship." Is that a element of your back office system that you're able to know, or do we kind of just have to start over and go back to
So
the
the
space and then
no,
send that request again?
right. So you would have to redo the or block the group space again. Now, if it's because we can accommodate because it's a large group and we already have another large group on board, the group department will come back and say, listen, we
Mm,
can't because of this, but and they'll give us options.
okay,
Sometimes it's a
okay.
different ship. Sometimes, there are ships that are not. So, for instance, if you have a large group, you want to kind of try to stay away from Norwegian Prima and Norwegian Viva because the
Ah,
spaces are smaller. So, we can accommodate smaller groups, but if you're talking about a group that is 150 people or more, the spaces are smaller. So, it's challenging to come up with areas where we can accommodate. So there's certain groups, and that's where I come in as your business development manager. Is you want to reach out to me when you have those groups, and we can brainstorm, and I can tell you based on um, a cheat sheet that I have of what ships have what kind of space for what groups, or group types, that I can tell you and steer you in the right direction so that when you do block that group space, we do get that onboard programming approved.
do you have, in your experience, do you have a group that is just super memorable in the sense that it was unique and different, and it worked?
Yeah, actually, I have a few, but I don't think I have enough time to go through all of them. But I'll tell you, um, one of the ones that is the most memorable one for me, because it was a challenge, and till this day, they're still cruising. It was a cruise. This was an agency that used to be under my portfolio. It's an independent agency out of Sarasota, and they have a client that's a DJ. It's a morning show DJ. And so this DJ has a group, an annual group that they sail with. Every single year, the week before Thanksgiving, they go on a cruise.
Hmm.
They used to cruise with another cruise line for 10 years, but it got very repetitive. And so we were coming out with Norwegian Getaway, and I told them, just they would not book anything for me. It was one of those agencies that every time I called, they were like, no, no, no. So I finally told them, listen, come down to Miami. I'll show you the ship. We'll do a tour, and let's see. And so, sure enough, came back. They loved the ship. They said, okay, fine. He actually brought the DJ with him and the radio station staff. Um, they came. They loved the ship. We booked the group. Um, that first initial group was 100 cabins. It was sold
Wow.
out in no time. Before they were getting on board, I gave them a call 2 weeks before, and I said, "Hey, Steve, so have you thought of next year's group?" And he said, "No, not really. I haven't. We usually think about it in January. We're
Mm,
talking about November." So I'm like, "Listen, when you're on board, I'll throw in an additional cocktail party, and you announce next year's. And then you tell them to go to the cruise next desk. That way they can purchase their certificate for their next cruise. And before the end of the cruise, all you got to do is collect all those who decided to purchase their deposit for next year's, and you have your group is already pre-sold. That way you know what you're doing." And so he said, "I like the idea. Let me go ahead and talk to the radio station." See,
yeah,
sure enough, they talked to the radio station. They loved the idea. We blocked it right before, and again with the idea of you have 60 days from the
right.
day that you block your group space to put any kind of deposit. So they went on board. He had flyers already made for his group. He announced the following years. They love the idea. So come Wednesday before Thanksgiving, I'm getting ready to leave, and he gives me a call. He tells me, "We have a problem." And I at this point, I'm thinking, "Oh gosh, something happened. The DJ's not happy." So
He needs
my
more
mind is
space.
trying to think of what. And he says, Like, we're gonna need more space. I've already sold 80% of the group. I was like, that's a good problem to have. I have no problems with that one. So that was in 2014 or 15, if I'm not mistaken, till this year, with the exception of the pandemic years, 20 and 21. They have sailed with us ever since then. If
Wow.
that agency is no longer my agency, I'm still friends with him though. No longer my agency, but it's good to know that something that I worked on, and it's still there, and
Right.
it's at its peak, the most cabins I had were 350 cabins. So that's already a large group, right?
Yeah.
But we were able to make it happen, and make their cocktail parties and do everything that they needed, and then the clients just love to cruise on NCL. So that's
Well,
something that's memorable.
and the message there is have the next one already set, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, this goes for
Absolutely.
any group, cruise, land.
Any group, a
You
family
want to know what
vacation,
you're doing next.
buddies.
Yep.
And what
Because,
happens is,
oh,
they come on board, they're excited, right? They purchase that cruise next certificate, and we automatically give them, so for $250 they purchase their full cabin deposit for the next cruise,
mhm,
and we give them within 24 hours $100 of Umber credit. So they're really just spending $150
right.
on a full cruise deposit, right? And they're gonna come home, they're excited. I always say, if this time you got 5 cabins, next year you get 10, because they're gonna come back, they're excited, they're gonna show their pictures, they're gonna talk to their family members, they're gonna talk to coworkers. And who's to say that next year, they bring someone else along. And so now
Hmm.
your group has doubled in size, and you as a travel advisor, it's gaining more clients, and everything else that comes with it.
I just think that's fantastic, and what a true testament to you working the true meaning of a business development manager,
Absolutely.
right?
Thank you.
Not
Yes.
not promising things you can't do
Yep.
or one-offs. It's here. Let me show you. You haven't seen us before. Let me show you the product so that you can fall in love with it. Give us a try, and then here's the strategy for moving forward. Like it's so great to see that in action.
Thank you. Yeah, I always say my favorite part of my job is that is one, engaging with the agents and getting to know them. They may work, you think of travel advisors and most people may think, oh, they're all the same, but no, everyone is moved in a different way and for a different reason.
Hmm.
So that, to me, to know what makes you tick, to know what makes you want to get up out of bed every morning and do the best that you can, that's what I love to do, right? And so
Right.
I love that. And then showing you the way and showing you, because while the technique and the theory is there for everyone, it works differently for everyone, because
Right.
maybe for your agency is the groups, and for somebody else it may be, yes, groups, but more focused in the conference or in those nonprofit organizations, because you love to volunteer and you have those contacts. So it's just, I enjoy that part of
Yeah.
my job. I really do. So
For any new agents or agents who haven't really gotten into the groups game yet, do you have a word of advice for them starting on this journey? We all know that groups are um, they're not easy to do, but they can be super successful and lead to repeat business over and over and over again
absolutely.
if you as the agent do your job. So, what tips do you have for those that have never gone into this before?
I know that groups seem to be very intimidating, right? Because like you said, you think, oh my gosh, so many cabins, and how am I going to manage? But the one thing that I always tell agents is, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, guys. All you have to do is take a look at what's around you. What's your sphere? Who are your points of contacts? Who are going to be those pipe pipers or group leaders, right? Everyone knows someone, and sometimes it may be you.
Mm,
Sometimes it may be you putting an itinerary that has been in your bucket list and saying, grabbing 5 cabins. Again, 5 cabins, it's not something out of this world. You and other people that you invite, could be family members, could be friends and family, and you put it with me, and that's how you get your, you kind of dip your toes in the water the first time with a small 5 cabin group,
mm-hmm.
that is your personal vacation. Um, and then from there, you start growing and you realize that instead of having to sell, for instance, 20 different itineraries to get 20 different cabins to book, you're going to promote one itinerary
Right.
with 20 cabins and you're going to get the same outcome, right? So don't be afraid of it. Take a look. I know a lot of you volunteer at different places, different organizations. We do have a is $100 of fundraising credit. Money goes directly from NCL to that organization. I can go more in depth with it if you reach out to me, if you have an idea of a work with or that you're currently working with and want to do a fundraising group. Just reach out to me and I will be more than happy to walk you through how to do it. But take a look, it could be your daughter's soccer team at the end of the season, and we put a small 15 cabin
Mm-hmm.
group, that you promote and you sell to the parents around. There's so many different you can get started with groups.
Wonderful. Lylle, thank you so much for being here today for the first time ever. Safe travels to you, and we will see you in November.
Thank you. Yes,
Take
I
care.
will. Looking forward to it. Bye, guys.
Thank
Thank
you so much
you.
for your time today. That was awesome. You guys, groups are so fun to talk about. Okay, so Joanne was stuck in a little traffic. But she's here now. Who's our group guru? Kevin and Joanne. And for those of you that are not with KHM, these are our group gurus. Joanne, thanks for pushing it through the traffic. But now I can't see you.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know, but that's okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. That's just fine.
Oh, well, maybe you don't want to see me. I'm a little frazzled.
Are you a little rattled? I know Sam sent me the notes. She's stuck behind a truck. Um,
No,
you
worse,
know,
a school
I
bus.
don't I don't know if you were able to hear what Lylle had to say about groups, but you have done numerous cruise groups in your
Mhm.
career. Can you share, like, I mean, obviously the Super Cruise, for those of us with KHM know about the Super Cruise, but can you share like just a success story and kind of how it started and what that's looked like for you over the years?
So you wanted me to relate to that or someone else's success? Because I have a really good parable I could give you with an
Your
agent that
call.
is lighting it up. Because, I don't want to just, if I talk about the Super Cruise, which I can do
Yep.
until the cow jumps over the moon. It's just that that was such an established group. It comes to us so naturally. We don't have to work hard. The bookings just roll in. I don't want to give people the impression that something like that is an overnight success
Hmm.
and easy peasy. But thank you. Any plug for that is always wonderful because, as you know, our agent community may certainly book into it. But I won't name names because I, didn't prep her that I was going to use her as an example. But but I have something that I think a lot of travel advisors could relate to. Okay, what is one of the reasons we've gotten into the industry? I love to travel, so we basically see this huge influx of today I was a consumer, tomorrow I'm a travel advisor. So we have a lot of people that come into the industry and they believe that they're going to have their friends, their neighbors, their kids' friend, everyone in the hood is going to be their group client. And that's a nice ambition to have, but you really need to, as we talked about in our group camp, plant those seeds,
Hmm.
reap the rewards of the cultivation and the preparation and understanding what you are trying to do. So I'm going to use this agent as a story, and she is with our organization. She used to be a consumer, attended this annual group cruise that just grew organically. The original travel agent of the group, I believe, was based in Florida. So she had this group very successful year in, year out. She decided, I'm going to retire. I don't want to do this anymore. Maybe she won the lottery. I don't know. But she said, if any one of you folks here want to take it over, she explains to that group how she became a travel agent. And so she encouraged anyone that she goes, I will give you all the information. You'll have all the contacts. I'm gifting you with this group.
Hmm.
So that's what happened. Our agent became a travel advisor with KHM. And she took it a step further. She reacquainted herself with members of the group. She reinforced friendships. She was building relationships. As we know, that's so critical. And she decided, well, I'm going to give away the name of the brand by mentioning this. We like Havana rooms and Havana suites. And she identified that, okay, even in a very competitive market, we'd like to sell an inventory of cabins that are going to give not only great satisfaction to the person buying it, but more profitability for that booking agent. So she started booking those, and the people that weren't, she would invite those people once on board, come to see our
Mm.
cabin, look at the exclusivities you get, et cetera, et cetera. So she was instilling in them that desire. Oh, because we're all jelly. I want that. So she would get people that were buying into that idea. Book a better accommodation. You get different perks and bonuses on board, the exclusivity factor, the back of the ship, the private pool, blah, 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 right? So she rarely sells interiors.
Mm.
Maybe the occasional single that's price sensitive, she might book a lower priced room. But for the most part, she's booking high-end balconies, Havanas, suites, and so forth. So you know the brand I'm talking about there, and she's done very, very well. She's always in our top producer column for the brand. But then she started spreading her wings. She's not done huge groups with any other brands until now. She's got a couple of nice groups on the books for Virgin Voyages because she's taken the next step. She's got
Right.
people convinced the 1 week or 8-night cruises are the way to go. The premium accommodations are the way to go. And she's now got people, they're empty nesters, no kids around. Like me, I don't want my cousin, well, there is a bad one. My husband, right?
Or
Teaches high
something like
school.
that.
Right, something like that, kissing cousins. Anyway, my husband, he teaches at high school. When we wanna be around teenagers, they're 5 minutes away from me.
Right.
When we go on vacation, we don't want that, and she's identified that with her group. They are ready for the product that now suits their needs. The handful that she tested the waters, the handful that she took on her first Virgin group, what did they become? The best form of advertisement. They're out there sharing
Right.
pictures, sharing stories. So I guess the moral of that story is, and I wanted it to resonate. Hey, I was a consumer once too. Now I'm a travel advisor. How can I capitalize on that?
Hmm.
She lucked out. She had an audience of people that had demonstrated they would travel, but she took it on and she put her brand and her
Right.
stamp on it. So it
Right.
really is, I mean, bravo to her. She's knocking it out of the ballpark. And I just want nothing more than continue good luck and good success for her. But
Right.
I think ultimately when we identify that, and I caught the tail end of what Lylle was saying about, again, you're offering a product and making it available to a wider group of people. You don't have to constantly keep checking prices because you have that rate available. If you have inventory that it is available, so you could confidently speak and not say, "Ooh, I quoted that. Let's hope it's still available." So
Right.
there are great benefits to having group space, but the biggest benefit and the biggest key to success is that dedicated audience that is going to become your booked client. And then remember, they're going to be your voice for their friends, their relatives, their people that are not part of it now, but maybe in the future. And
Hmm.
we'll circle back. We'll end it on the Super Cruise note because that trip, for as long as it's been in existence, it has produced groups for me in the Mediterranean, in the British Isles, Northern Europe. It's produced, the Alaska trips. Like, oh, you do something
Hmm.
more than that big one. And we're got second generation of people traveling. My daughter's honeymoon needs to be booked, or family
Right.
reunion type stuff. So your groups are huge chunks of business for you. Don't just look at the one in front of you. Look for how far it's going to reach its tentacles out into the future for you.
Right. Well, and I want to go back to that agent because that's so impressive. Because
Mhm.
let's say, okay, we say she was lucky she was handed that. She could have easily dropped the ball on that
Yep.
and not done her homework, not persevered, not worked those connections, and just banked on the fact that they would just do it again.
Mhm.
I think she had actually a harder job to maintain that group and
Probably.
really work to make sure that they knew that she was as committed as the other agent was.
Mhm.
And so yeah, bravo, because sometimes
Mhm.
when you're handed something you think you're just going to not have to maintain it, but it's actually harder because you have to create a new standard and make sure that you are achieving that.
Yeah.
Um, so we know, and we just have a few more minutes.
Mhm.
So, thank you again for rushing through traffic to join us today. We know that groups are not easy. They do take time and dedication and a lot of study, but they are very rewarding. Is there something that you would say is a lesson you've learned or a huge takeaway that you could give to agents, as we finish up our conversation on groups?
Mm. One that we tend to have a conversation a lot with, and when I say we, I of course include my partner in crime, Kevin. Uh, we Agents sometimes will think that if I'm going to advertise or I'm going to put this on my social media, whether I have a dedicated group page or just a landing page on Facebook or whatnot, they feel that they have to put everything in the kitchen sink out there.
Mm,
The problem with that is when you put any financials in a post that anyone could see, even if they got the secret handshake to get into that secondary page, we'll say on Facebook private group, when you're putting a figure out there, you put a bullseye on your back because now people are focusing on price, and you've given them the opportunity to go onto a keyboard and check you out.
mhm,
And now, now that after July 1st, where it became a requirement for cruise lines to include all of the extras and not just the basics, and holy cow, I have to add another 350 per person in miscellaneous taxes. So I'm actually a big fan of that change happening. I want to see
mhm.
transparency in pricing. But if you put a target price out there, you have people focusing on that. And that's always your starting rate. I don't know anyone who goes in and say, grand suites starting at
Right,
$10,000. When they see the $12.99 rate, they're focusing on that.
right,
And that's probably going to be an interior room. No, let's face it, nobody wants those.
right.
So now you have to justify why the price change is there, or if they go on to brand X and they're checking the price and they might see a restrictive deposit fare, which might save them 20 whole dollars. You don't want to have that argument with them. And we did kind of touch this when we did our group camp. We don't want you to have to focus on the negative. We want you to be saying, yes, oh, I'm happy to book you. What kind of room do you want and what credit card are you using?
Mm,
So the minute you start putting those restrictive things, you're making people, again, think that price point. You're giving them an opportunity to go and price check you or shop you, which is worse, because they're going to take your rate and go to the travel agent in their community and say, hey, can you do me one better? So I think one of the big things I like to circle back. Groups are not easy. You just said that a little bit
mhm.
ago. They're worthwhile, of course, and they're rewarding, but they're not easy.
Right.
So the more you rely on people reading the font, the text, or whatever headline you've put out there, you've not given them enough reason to circle back to you. And what do I always say? You are their font of knowledge.
Right.
You need to be the sun in the middle of their universe. They have to come to you. They need to speak to you about these things, because what is it doing again? It's cementing that relationship. It's reminding them that you're the pro. This is your realm, and they're happy enough to be in it. So those are some of the takeaways we like to do,
Mhm,
especially with a newish agent. They come in, I'm not really sure how to do this. We're really trying to guide you on the right path of working smarter, not harder, making sure that when you do put something out there, you've given yourself the opportunity to be that salesperson. Convince them this is what you want, this is what you need. If you put all of that information out there and da 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 da, da, you've not really given them much reason to circle back to you.
mhm.
And again, the last thing you want to do is arm anybody with the ammunition that they could go out and book the same thing. We're going to be on the same ship. Can't we just hang around with you? Nope,
Right, right.
nope.
Yep, yep. So at the end of the day, and we've said that, right? For a group, you're selling the group, right? You're selling you and the group
Yep.
experience. For an individual booking, you are selling you. You are not selling the destination or the resort or the price. You are selling you as this font of knowledge,
Mhm,
this asset that they're not going to get anywhere else.
mhm.
And I couldn't agree with you more. Those of you that have been in boot camp with me know that I very, very rarely ask the budget question. And if I do ask the question, I don't ask what's your budget? I ask it in a totally different way.
Mhm.
So that we can share on another show entirely, or
Absolutely.
show up to boot camp in November.
Yes.
Um, Joanne, thank you so much for being here
Mhm.
today. We will see you at Crystal, right?
Oh, absolutely. My bags are already packed.
Wonderful. Well, we appreciate you so
Mhm.
much, and thank you for spending some time with us today. Even though I
No,
can't see you, but other people
you
say I
can't
see
see me.
her. I don't
Oh,
know where you
I'm
are
here.
on my
I'm
screen.
Maybe it's good because 'cause I'm up on the 3rd floor of my house, and there's a lot of clutter behind me. You're lucky a cat didn't make an appearance. I don't know why, because I turned my camera on and there it
Yeah,
was, but,
I don't
uh,
know.
that's
Something's
right.
going wonky today, but that's
Sometimes
okay.
sometimes that's a good thing.
Yeah. Thanks
Alright.
so much, Joanne. See you
You're
soon.
welcome. Yeah, see you next week when you're in town.
Oh, that's right. Yes, you guys, next week is Luxury Symposium.
Yeah.
So thank you
Right in
guys
my
so much.
neighborhood. In
Right
my
in your
neighborhood.
neighborhood. Yep.
Mhm.
We're going to the Shikitinos for dinner one night, right?
No, my range broke. T Tonight, I have to go buy a new gas range. 3 weeks ago, I just got a new washer and dryer. I have a fence being installed in my backyard. Yeah, we're going through my, father-in-law's legacy real fast.
Take care, my friend.
Okay, thanks for having me. Ta-ta.
Bye.
Bye.
You guys, what a fabulous conversation on groups. And remember, if you're part of KHM Travel Group, you've got destination groups in the portal for reference, especially if you're new. That gives you a really good base point, a lot of great knowledge. And then, of course, you have access to Kevin and Joanne once you do that to ask all of your questions, and they'll help you grow your group business. Next week, we do have Luxury Symposium, so we will not have a show, but we'll be back here the following week. And for the life of me, you guys, I can't remember what the topic is. So you'll have to watch the Facebook page for our graphics so that you guys know what's going on. And don't forget, we'll be in the Insider as well. Thank you so much, Fab40, Fab540. I don't know who you are, but thanks for being here today. Nancy, awesome. Leslie, everyone, Kim, so glad that you've been doing some great groups with NCL. That's fantastic. So you guys, thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you again real soon. And for those of you attending Luxury, looking forward to seeing you next week. Happy selling.